Welcome back to the Honest to Goodness podcast, where we give you our honest opinions on good entertainment. Now, you can see that we have a guest appearing on our screens. Kerri, do you know who this is?
Now, who is this guy? I thought you invited him.
No, you had to have invited him because I didn't do it.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess, yeah, I did invite him.
I might be on the wrong podcast, guys. I might be on the wrong podcast here.
No, you got it right.
Is this the right one? Yeah?
Yeah, you got it right. Guys, welcome Andrew Walker.
Hey guys. And
So
if I'm
excited.
correct, this is the first time that you're interviewing an actor, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Well, I feel very privileged to be your first subject. And go easy on me, okay? Go easy on me.
We'll see. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to talk to us and be our first interviewer, like our interviewee. How do you say that?
Interviewee.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, thank you so much. It's honestly an honor and privilege for us to be able to talk to you and be able to talk to you about, anything and everything. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you guys.
So what have you been up to lately?
You want to know like details? Minute to minute details?
Yeah.
I was just at the Los Angeles community. It's building and service community offices. We're building a pool in our backyard right now and doing some work in the house. So I just dropped off some documents there and had to get them notarized. So that was my morning. Let my kids off, drove my kids to school. We did a music morning this morning. We usually do music mornings in the morning time here at the Walker household. It sounds a lot more, I guess, organized or maybe fun than what it really might be. It's fun, but it's chaotic fun. It's organized chaos. My one son's on the piano.
Yeah, anything you mix with kids is going to be chaos. So
a little chaos, yeah. Especially I have a 2-year-old who's like a wild man, and he's like playing the drums, and then he takes out the tambourine and just shaking it. But we're slowly but surely starting to, I guess, find a sound. There's like some structure that's happening that's starting to happen between everybody. And my 6-year-old is taking piano lessons. So morning times we do a little piano, and I sit there and make sure he's doing everything he should. But as of late, he's kind of doing it himself, which is great. He like sits down and plays the piano by himself and doesn't need too much, prompting from me. But I love doing these music mornings because we blast like all different types of music. Like we'll blast like Led Zeppelin, and then AC/DC, and then we'll do like, Paw Patrol, and then we'll do like Nightmare Before Christmas. And then we'll do, it's like all over the place. It's very schizophrenic.
You got a good variety there.
Yeah.
I love it.
So that was my day today so far. And now I'm here with you guys.
That sounds great. Yeah.
But if you want to know other work-wise, I'm kind of just I'm waiting for the phone call to go do my Christmas movie this year for Hallmark. So that's should be coming up relatively soon. I know there's some things in the works there, and I have a couple projects, some Christmas projects in development with them. So hopefully
awesome.
we'll find out about that too. And then yeah, I did a short film a couple weeks ago with a friend of mine, which is always nice to kind of do something different. You know, it was not a Hallmark related project at all. It was kind of the far opposite off on the spectrum, but it was a lot of fun to play this character, kind of like this desert sheriff who's been around the block. He's seen it all, and he's like kind of cynical and a little you know, depressed even. And the movie's about child trafficking, actually. So it's a really serious subject. And I'm in a desert border town. I'm in Texas, border town, and basically I see a lot of that happening over the borders and stuff. And it's kind of weighing on me, you know. And there's a most recent case that happened, and we're trying to solve it. And so, you know, that was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, just keeping busy. And I have my juice company out here in LA, so just that's my kind of constant, you know, day to day when I'm not doing my acting. So and auditioning for things still. So plate is full, you know.
That's always
but
good.
grateful for it.
That is so cool. I remember seeing the picture that you posted as that sheriff character, and you were wearing the cowboy hat. And I remember just thinking, it would be perfect, like as a sheriff in like Texas or Montana or something in some kind of series. I was like, that would be so him to do that role. It looked great.
That would be a dream. You know, actually, a lot of the people that we were working with on that set, they came off of 1883 and Yellowstone.
Wow.
So it was really, really talented group of people, and I felt really grateful and fortunate to be a part of it.
Yeah, that does sound like, obviously everyone that probably watches our podcast, they mainly know you from Hallmark. So for them to hear you doing that kind of role, they're probably like, whoa, that's way away from his normal stuff. So I think a lot of people would probably be excited to see you do that kind of thing, see like how your range is.
Yeah, well, actually it's interesting you bring that up, because my the way that I got into Hallmark is, and I don't know if you ever heard this story before, apologize if you have, but for the listeners that haven't, almost 10 years ago now, almost 15 years ago now, I did a movie about a skinhead, a neo-Nazi skinhead, called Steel Toes. And it was with this actor named David Strathairn. David Strathairn's a theater actor, mainly theater actor, but he's an unbelievable actor. He was nominated for an Academy Award for a movie called Good Night and Good Luck a bunch of years ago. It was directed by George Clooney. He was just most recently in, oh my gosh, the movie won an Academy Award last year for best feature. My gosh, what's it called again? Anyways, he was in that movie. He's worked with Meryl Streep a lot. Anyways, the guy's an unbelievable actor. I did this movie with him. He plays a Jewish attorney, and I'm a neo-Nazi skinhead. And basically he brings me through my trial and becomes this like father figure to me. And basically this like, you know, beacon of light for my character. And he flips all of what I have known up to that point on its head. And basically he changes me, you know, as a person. And anyways, that movie, I did it. It won some awards. It was a lot of fun. It was a indie film, like a real indie film. It looks very indie made as well. But that movie, cut to 4 years later, I get a call from my manager, and he goes, "Hey, Andrew, you got an offer to do a Hallmark movie." And at that time, I had taken about a year off of acting because I was opening this juice bar with my wife, and I was kind of resenting the business because I hadn't been putting time. I didn't have the time to put towards, or the attention towards my acting, to like go to class and watch movies and all the things you have to do as an actor, you know, just keep active and keep watching movies and keep, you know, following your favorite performance, just, you know, your favorite performances, and also mainly going to class. I mean, class is kind of like the gym, right? It's like an actor needs to exercise what they're doing. So I didn't have that time to do that. Anyways, I get this call from a manager and he's like, you got an offer to do a Hallmark movie. It was called Bride for Christmas. And I was like, Hallmark, don't they make greeting cards? Isn't that the greeting card company? They make movies. And he's like, well, it's, read the script. Let me know what you think of it. I read the script and I said, this is an opportunity to get my foot back in the door and get back on set. So I'm on set. I choose to do this movie. I'm having a great time. I'm working with this actress named Ariel Kebbel, and we're yeah, she's great. She's great, and we're really jiving. It's her first Hallmark movie as well, and about 5-6 days into shooting, I'm talking to the director, and I said, "Hey, Gary." His name is Gary Yates. Gary Yates has done like 25 Hallmark movies. He's like the go-to director in Winnipeg whenever Hallmark movies shoot in Winnipeg. And I was like, Gary, how did this come about? He goes, you know how this came about? He goes, I watched that movie you did with David Strathairn and where you played the skinhead. And I went to Hallmark and I said, I want this guy in my movie. And so it was like this completely so far off the spectrum movie that I could have ever done that ended up getting me the role, or that, a Hallmark executive would have seen and been like, no, this guy's too harsh or too rough around the edges. And Gary actually is the one that I have to thank for it, because he watched that performance and he said, I think I want Andrew in this movie. And so it was from doing, a completely different character that actually got that you'd see me in a Hallmark movie that got me into Hallmark.
That is so awesome.
That's crazy.
People underestimate the power of like indie films and stuff. In 2020, I actually got to work on a independent film that some friends of mine were doing. And I just told Morgan a little bit ago that they announced last night that they just got a distribution deal for it. And I'm just like,
oh, great. Oh my gosh, that's great.
I'm Congrats. Like, my boys made it. I'm proud of them. I always knew they would make it, but yeah.
It's fantastic.
It was really
fun. They do underestimate it. And they underestimate it. I think actors also underestimate it because, you're so used to this. Well, you're not so used to, I don't want to say you're so used to it. A lot of actors that have had some success and, some regular work in a normal feature or, TV work or movie MOWs, movies of the week, we're used to being treated a certain way on set. Everything's kind of like organized, but I love getting my hands dirty and coming in on something and helping any way I can. In this indie film, in this short film I was doing, I helped one of the other actors, who's one of the producers, cook lunch for everybody. Like I had a little break and I was like, let's go in the back of the kitchen.
Saw that picture.
Oh, you did? Yeah. So, it's like one of those things where it's just everybody on set. They're all helping to make this thing be the best thing it could possibly be. And
you can really feel the teamwork and like the family dynamic of being together in it,
You're together, and then the freedom to create is so much more fluid and I guess just you're supported in that freedom, so much more, because it's like you can try something and it's scary inside. You're like, I might be looking like a jerk right now, or like I might be coming across as completely fake or whatever it is after you do it, and then you just try it, and then my buddy will come, who's an honest guy, will come back from around the camera and be like, that was great. Okay, can you explore this? What you were doing at this section? I would kind of amp that up a little bit more and like try to play with that a little bit more, or bring, explore that a little bit more with the character. And, if it's like challenging somebody, or if it's, being a little bit more, vulnerable, or whatever the decisions are. So I just love that. I love that. And having that one day on set kind of reinvigorated me again. I was like, man, I want to do some more of this stuff. But Hallmark is kind of I'm so fortunate that I have this staple, type of work that I get to do on Hallmark, where it's fun. It's the content is so positive. I feel great when I finish doing a movie. Viewers feel great after they watch a movie. So it's nice to kind of get all the full spectrum of of what you can do as an actor, you know?
Yeah. Congratulations on the deal you just got to sign with them.
Yeah, congratulations. That sounds amazing.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you. Yeah, there's been a whole slew of people now. It's been great. Like Ryan just signed his, and Luke McFarlane, and Taylor Cole, and Amy. I was just texting with Amy Teagarden just before actually this podcast saying congrats. And I think it's, you know, I think a lot of these people are really excited as well, because Hallmark they're headed in such a great direction. And there was a moment where, you know, things were kind of the same, you know, and we knew it was just the same kind of movies that were turning out, but now they're starting to tell stories. You know, they have people that, you know, have, you know, it's just like real people, right? Somebody could be in a wheelchair. Somebody could be in, you know, they're telling same-sex marriage stories, blind, autistic, exactly, all these things. So it's just, it's the world that we live in. It's not, and they're still painting that really great picture of what it is and like what it could be, or what, you know, I think, you know, we're so fortunate in the US. Most people do live in this. We don't even realize how fortunate we are living here when you look all around the world at things that happen all over the world. But, you know, Hallmark is still an escape place. People can watch these movies and it takes you away. And it makes you feel so good, you know, after you watch these movies. We still know the endings are going to be happy endings, and as they should be. But all the stuff in between, the threads that make that, you know, that cloth or that blanket are a little different now, you know.
I know. I remember whenever I don't know if it's out yet, but I remember they announced the movie where the two leads were have Down syndrome. And, you know, I was like, that's amazing. Like, I don't think I've ever seen, like, I've seen one other movie, I think, that had Down syndrome couple, like, in it. And I remember that movie being so good. And I can't wait for this one to come out, because I know that it's going to represent so many people, even people who don't have Down syndrome, but maybe they have a different kind of syndrome. Like I actually have a syndrome that I was born with because I have a heart condition. It's actually rare, but like seeing that someone else has a syndrome and they're getting to be an actor or an actress or or this, like that, it even matters to them, even if that person doesn't have Down syndrome specifically. Just seeing someone who has a syndrome getting to have that spotlight is amazing.
We're all touched by somebody who has a syndrome of some sort, right? Like everybody is. And so that's, again, going back to just real life stories, and there's no reason why we should be shying away from that. It's not like it's going to take away from the happiness of the movie or the way that it makes you feel. It's if anything, I love contrasts. You know, I love contrasts in movies, and that's why I feel like I try to emulate or bring to the characters I play is like, you know, there's got to be some real life events that are happening, some conflicts that you're working through as a human being. We're all working through conflicts of some sort in our life, whether it be health conflicts or relationship conflicts. And so, you know, you have to bring those layers in as you're building out a character. And I love that they're bringing in actual characters with syndromes of some sort into the storytelling. So it's great.
Yeah, it really is. And it eliminates a lot of stigmatisms that surround that. Like I know some people who still feel like some certain people shouldn't be able to, like, there are some people that unfortunately they probably will never get married or have like the fullness that, and some people who don't have that syndrome, but being able, like, I know it surrounds Down syndrome very heavily. Like a lot of people don't see Down syndrome people getting married, but it's real. It happens.
Yes.
So being able to have that out is great. And I can't wait for even more, like people who are blind, people who can't hear, that are deaf, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So that's really great that they're doing that.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
So okay, checking.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Now, Adrian, some of my favorite movies that you've done, Bridal Wave, which that was with, I'm sorry, my brain is not giving
Ariel as well.
Yeah,
Ariel
you did that one with her. And I told Morgan, I said, part of what was fun for me with that one is because her sister and brother-in-law, Melissa and Mike, they call them M&M. Well, my brother Michael is married to a Megan, so we nicknamed them M&M. So it was like that little
M&M. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Little connection there. So Bridal Wave, Love and Design that you did with Danica McKellar. The Perfect Catch, I think, has been one of my favorites that you did.
It's mine too. Like that's definitely our favorite out of you and Nikki's together.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that for Nikki and I, a lot of people say Perfect Catch, and they can't decide between Perfect Catch or A Dream of Christmas.
Yeah.
That's another good one. Yeah. That's definitely a close second.
Yeah. My Secret Valentine, I know I texted you this, but my mom passed away in March, and she loved Lacey Chabert. Like, Lacey was her top favorite Hallmark actress, but that was one of her favorite of Lacey's movies. And she was never good at remembering like who's in what or what the title of it was or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was always, that Handyman movie. She just always called it the Handyman movie. So that's a fun memory with her. Of course, Marion Bright that you did with Jodie Sweetin, the 27-hour day that you just did with Autumn Reeser. Of course, When Calls the Heart.
Yeah, When Calls the Heart.
We're a lot of our podcast is about When Calls the Heart, and of course, your newest one.
Oh, is it? Okay, great.
The Curious Caterer.
So what did you guys think of? What did you guys think of that?
I loved it.
Curious Caterer. Yeah.
You're like you. I remember like our friend. We were friends with the Swing My Heart podcast that you just did an interview with. Yeah. And I remember you were kind of, because the movie had not come out yet. You were like, you were talking about how you were kind of a little bit more gruff than you've usually ever been in a Hallmark. I loved it. Yeah. I liked that new side of you with the movie. Mm-hmm. So, and it was cool because it didn't because you and Nikki have done so many movies together. It did not change y'all's chemistry at all. Like, it was still just great.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you said that. What about you, Kerri? What did you think of it? Before I respond.
No, you're good. I loved it. Like, the Hallmark mysteries are a staple around my house.
They're so good.
So so I was super excited for it to come out. Of course, I always love your movies, and of course I love you and Nikki doing stuff together. And I really liked it. Like, I feel like I have an appreciation for good writing, and that to me was very well written. I know Morgan commented to me that like it actually surprised her who it was. Like,
I got duped. I was like, I could have sworn I had the person that did it like down pat, and then it went like
right. Yeah, that's what I felt as well when we read the script. Nikki and I said the exact same thing. We read the script. We were like
see, I was gonna ask.
Did you not know who it was until the very end? And I was like, yeah, I didn't know either. It's great.
Yeah, because I was because I was like, surely you guys knew. But like, I was kind of gonna ask, like, did you guys know? Did it get you guys? So that's kind of cool.
It did not get. Yeah, when we read the script, it did not get us at all. Wow. But it's interesting you said that. Say that, Morgan, about how you've seen Nikki and I so many times in other movies, and so the reason why I chose to play that character that way is something that we, Nikki and I spoke about a lot as we prepped for this movie. We're like, people have seen us in three other films, and they know what they're going to get. We have the trust of the viewers. Let's give them something completely different. It could fall on its face. It could be a complete flop, but at least we'll know that there's this movie that is completely different out there that you'd see, that you're watching Nikki and I work together in, and still continue to build. There's, it's a slow burn, that relationship as it builds, but that's what we wanted to go. That's what we were going for, and that's I think something that made it such an interesting job for me to I never thought of myself being on a Hallmark set when I was doing that movie. It wasn't like I was just when you do the rom-com movies or any of the Christmas movies, you do have to play within that sandbox, of the Hallmark that I more or less know pretty well now, after doing 20 movies with them. But I just know the formula, right? Like, it's like 42 pages in, 45 pages in, that's when when you're starting to have that budding relationship with your female co-star, and the romance starts to come out. Yes, yeah, and then it starts to build from there, and then page 92, that's when things potentially might fall apart, and then things quickly come back together again. As page 115 or 120 page script is what these movies are. So out of 120 pages, the formula is kind of what it is more or less laid out. But in this movie, Curious Caterer, it's a book series, and hopefully the book series, hopefully it goes for more. There's 18 other novels, that are in place. Wow. And so in this case, our relationship would only start to develop on page 450. You know what I mean? If you're taking all of those movies into consideration. And so that's what we chose to do in this movie. And also I just wanted to give people a glimpse of, a different Andrew, and I think from what I gather, people liked it, but I definitely think that there's honest friends. My parents have some like very honest Hallmark watching friends, and like one of them, the most honest one, who is also my elementary school teacher. Her name is Janice Morrow, and she was my grade 4 and grade 6 teacher. And she's like, oh, well, she goes, Andrew, you got to stick to the rom-coms. You got to stick to the rom-coms. I didn't like your character at all in this movie. Totally too cold. You do the rom-com so much better. And she's like very brash in the way that she says these things. Sorry, my camera's starting to fall on me here. Let me 1 second here, guys.
You're okay.
No, I feel like that speaks to your character as the person that you are, though, that she didn't like to see you playing somebody that was more hard and cold, whatever. That she's like, that's not you.
That's not you. Yeah.
I know, but I was like, Janice, I'm acting. This is acting.
It's not really me. It's this character.
It's not really me, and I'm bringing. We're doing something different here. So
yeah.
Anyways, she it was funny because she left me with it. She left me with a question mark. She goes, well, what do you think? And I'm like,
oh, she flipped it on you.
Yeah, she flipped it on me.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think one thing that was fun for me watching it is I almost felt like your character like had started melting a little bit at points, and yet it was almost like he felt like he had to keep this persona up, or somebody would see that he was softer than he was letting on. Yeah. So it was almost like he was starting to peer through the armor there a little bit, that he wasn't gonna like just completely let it go.
Which is understandable.
That was fun for me.
Yeah, which is understandable given like, you in the movie, your character does give a little bit of a backstory about like his ex-wife and how he came to be at Elkwood. And I guess that would be, and even as the type of investigator or detective that you are, having you even spoke about how you were tired of the crime that was where you were and all that, and how you
in San Francisco.
Yeah. So it kind of almost it matches with the story with his story. Like it was be kind of understandable for him to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, again, going back to like these real life stories, and people are fractured in a way in certain lines of work, especially as a police officer. And like, I got so much respect for, that line of duty. And, when you think of what a detective goes through in a city like San Francisco, which is really, it has truthfully, being there numerous times now over the past few years I've been living in Los Angeles. San Francisco has changed a lot. There's a lot more crime there now. There's a lot more, the homeless situation is really out of control. And, and so I actually I had to sit for a few days and do a lot more research on like what it is to be a detective, like what detectives go through, therapy for detectives, what detectives speak about, what they go through, the experiences that they go through, and what kind of weighs on them, and so here a guy's going through, he's a detective, he's leaving the city because of the crime factor, and he's he's going down with the impression that his wife is going to come with him, and then she goes, no, I want a divorce. And so he's now newly divorced, coming into this new town, and now this big, the most important case probably that he's had to be on so far has come around, and so there's a lot of pressure on him, and so just taking all those real life events and then stacking that on was really important for me in bringing this character to life.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I love when I hear actors talking about how they really do the work and research, and like they try and put, like they'll even go and talk to someone who is an actor, like for instance with you, like maybe you actually go and talk to a detective and ask him like what it's like for him day to day, like what's going on with his mental state, his family life, how it affects his family life, and that kind of thing. Like I love watching interviews like that where people really dig deep into what other stuff they do, because a lot of people don't.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
that's the beauty of acting. We get to play, we get to play, become these characters, and learn about what these people that we're portraying, and that's giving them a respect as well, right? Because now I have this whole new respect. I knew being a cop was really tough. My cousin's a retired officer. We had an old building manager of a condo that we used to live in here. He was a detective, Los Angeles detective. And we would talk to him about certain things. He was pretty, tight-lipped about what his line of work entailed and stuff. But, it's not knowing the details of what he potentially goes through. And like Los Angeles, what a city to be a police officer or detective in. You're seeing a lot of stuff here. So, actors should be doing the homework when they go into playing these roles, because it's giving the person that you're portraying the respect, and that line of work the respect that it deserves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I fully agree. And plus, like you were mentioning about how, San Francisco, like the homeless rating is ridiculous. Like the crime there is getting a lot worse. Like me down here in Louisiana, I have no clue. Like I don't know that it's like that, because you don't really see that being portrayed like on the news, and like it's not out there a whole lot. People don't want to talk about the bad stuff, or they'll mention it a little bit, but that's it. So for him to be able to kind of talk about that and that be put out there, and so like I know that probably means a lot to people who actually live in San Francisco. They're like, okay, they're actually talking about this. Great.
Yes. That's it.
Visual here.
Yeah.
And going back to like these are things that we're able to bring up in Hallmark movies now. My character wouldn't have said that. We wouldn't even put it out there in the world, because why are we even going to make people's minds go there, or even question that? So I think the script was really well written, and I loved doing it. It really was a dream role and situation to work with Nikki again, and we love working together. We work so well together, and so
we loved y'all's like behind the scenes videos of you guys like dancing and cutting up on behind, like in between scenes.
Morgan and I are both like really big behind the scenes geeks. So like we a lot of times enjoy the behind the scenes of a movie as much, if not more, than we actually enjoy the movie. So
that's funny. Sometimes as an actor, I don't even realize how much people enjoy the behind the scenes. So sometimes I feel like it's a little self-indulgent when I'm like, hey, look what I'm doing, and I show people, or like speak to the camera,
like bragging, and you're kind of rubbing it.
Like look what I'm doing.
Definitely not to us.
And that's not how
that means anything. Definitely
give us all the behind the scenes. Like give us all the behind the scenes.
Yeah, I guess I'm a sport fanatic, and like if an athlete is giving behind the scenes of them on the field, or things that are going on, and like talking to the camera about experience, either if it's a hockey player or football player or something, I love hearing what it's like, to seeing what it's like to be a professional athlete, so I guess I don't realize it, but it is fun to see what it's like to be on one of these sets, and one of these movie sets behind the scenes, and like seeing it while the actor's talking to, you know, kind of walking people through what they're doing in their day and stuff. So noted. So when I do my Christmas movie, I'll do some more behind the scenes just for you guys too.
Yay!
Keeping you guys in mind, okay? Keeping you guys in mind.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I think too, like for me, which like I said, I've always been a behind the scenes geek. You can literally see pictures of me and my brother when I'm like 3 and 4 years old, and we're sitting there playing. I think it was Connect 4, and I'm like, my hand is like playing the game, and my head is turned like this, and I know I'm watching a movie. So I have like always been movie obsessed since I was born, pretty much. But I think definitely when I got to work on a set, that it gave me a whole new appreciation, because it's like people have no idea what goes into making a movie, the 1 and 2 hours of sleep a night and the 3 weeks of that, and you know, whatever, and just, you know, just everything that goes into it, and all the little moving parts that you know, that everybody pitches in to make this movie. I don't care if it's somebody that brought coffee to set that day and kept everybody from getting killed, or if it was the main actor that, or the director or the writer. You know, every person plays a big part in it. And it couldn't be done without any one of them. One more quick question before we move on to another role of yours, but does there happen to be any news yet as to whether or not the Curious Caterer will get picked up as an actual series or not?
No news just yet. News just yet, but we're hoping we're gonna find out relatively soon. You know, I you know, these things sometimes they take a long time. Sometimes we could find out in, you know, 6 months, a year. I don't know, but we're hoping. And they do have the rights to the second novel, so I know that there's one more in the potential works. So we'll see.
That's good.
Well, we're keeping our fingers crossed.
Keeping our fingers crossed.
So am I, guys. So am I. Thank you.
I have to say, you mentioned him in the Swing My Heart podcast. Your right-hand man, Mason.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Amazing in this. I was cracking up at every single one of his scenes. I was like, okay, that's exactly what Andrew was describing. He's like the annoying little brother that's like tagging along, totally not doing what he needs to be doing, or you know, he's so like really green when it comes to
that guy. Yeah, he is a gem. He's so much fun. He had everybody in stitches. Like his name is Riley Davis. Yeah, Riley's so funny, and he's really talented, you know, really talented Canadian actor. Just recently got out of acting school. And so, yeah, this was like one of his like 4th, 5th gigs that he's ever done. So for him to bring that kind of confidence and quirkiness to the character was really something.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that he was that green even with the acting. Yeah, it's like he was great. His chemistry with you, very natural. Was really good. It was really natural.
It's funny that his name is Riley, because I had told Morgan before we came on here. I was like, we were talking about him, and I was like, he makes me think of Riley from the National Treasure movies, which is like my all-time favorite character.
Mine too. Oh, that's another movie. Yeah, that's another movie we just chatted about.
That's what it was making me think of. So that's funny that his name actually is Riley.
You know, I haven't seen that movie yet. I got to see that movie. What? Yeah.
Okay, that's your homework assignment. You got to go watch.
Yeah, there you go. You got a homework assignment.
All right.
Another one, like me and her were actually texting this a while ago. Like one of the things was like him saying like, you're the coolest person I know. That even includes Detective Schultz, and like you're behind him, and she's like, Mason. He's like, I'm gonna head back to the station now.
Yeah. I think it was really cute. It was cute to me too when he was like talking about when he was talking to your character about that he used to have a crush on her. I don't have a crush on her anymore. I'm thinking, dude, you totally do.
Exactly.
That's gonna make it interesting whenever things start heating up between your characters. That's gonna be
yeah. It's funny because that wasn't even really that was discovered on the spot. Like we were going through it a few times, and I'm like, yeah, you totally do.
Yeah.
And also like it's all in the way that, you know, you find things out when you're on set, when you're working with, you could be my wife reads lines with me. She'll help me with auditions and stuff like that. And she's okay, but she's like not great, she's kind of like just like gives me the lines. But when you're working with the actor and they come in with decisions and they come in with like, decisions in how they in choices, you immediately you're like, oh, that's okay. It triggers a response. And so, I love that about working with, actors on a set once these people have been hired and, your supporting cast or whatever. And you find out so much about the story and how they perceive it or how it should go and the direction it should go by the way that people are talking and responding, and so that was kind of done in the moment, between Riley and I.
Yeah. The delivery of a line like makes all the difference in the world. When
all the difference.
The movie that I worked on, the actress, that was her first like for real role. And I heard her deliver this one line and I looked at our producer. I'm a snob. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a snob. But I was like,
I'm a snob too. I'm
the person that like sitting there watching the movie with me. You better be ready for commentary and for me to go. Morgan knows this because she watched the movie with me and I did not shut up the entire movie.
You paused it at least 15 times. Not lying. Not lying, not exaggerating.
No. But she delivered this one line, and when you watch the movie, it doesn't come out as bad as it sounded to me, like just standing there. But she was like, "I know you're a star, a big star, whatever." And I just shook my head and I looked at the producer and I was like, "She said that line wrong." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "She should have had a pause for effect." I said, "She should have been like, I know you're a star, a big star, like like just kind of pause for effect in that one line."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, I agree with you, but the director's not changing anything, so I can't say anything. I'm the producer, I can't say anything." And I'm just like, again, like watching the movie, it didn't come out sounding as bad as I was expecting it to, but that was literally the one line that I was like, "Oh, girl!" Like
you should be a creative producer, Kerri. That's what
I
creative producers do. That's what they do.
She needs to get in there.
I actually, we can talk about this a little bit later, but I actually am working on a storyline that you are an inspiration for one of the characters and Tyler is an inspiration for one of the characters, and that if I could cast it, y'all would totally be playing it.
And fun fact, your character has a wife that we actually thought your wife should play because she doesn't really have any lines, but we thought,
it would pretty much be her like just coming in the room, you're listening to a conversation on your phone and her being like, "Who are you talking to?" And you'd be like, "Shh," and her trying to get you to hang up, and you're like, "No, I want to hear this," because you're overhearing the other characters like confessing their feelings for each other, and you're the brother of the leading lady in the
okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, my wife would probably never do a movie, but if Tyler and I were in it together and maybe you paid her in Chardonnay or Sauvignon Blanc, she may do it.
She's got it.
In the bag. Tell her she's got her first acting role.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go. You want to move into When Calls the Heart for just a minute and talk about that?
Yeah, sure. We'll do it real quick. So I think my first time ever seeing you is as the iconic Billy Hamilton, who strolls into town and makes
iconic.
He is. I know, like, obviously you probably haven't even gotten to really watch the show, obviously, because you are busy with actually doing the acting. But in the recent past season, they brought back doing triangles and everything. I'm not gonna lie, conversations about Billy Hamilton and her ex-fiance, or well, I guess he wasn't even really her fiance because she didn't say yes. Charles, like, you guys were constantly being brought up. They were like, "Oh, he's totally like Billy," or he's totally like Charles, and it's like, no, they are them. You can't compare them. Like, you will know who is who.
Yeah.
But we had people like we talk about your character Billy all the time. I actually just recently went back to season 1, and I haven't watched it in years, and I actually got fooled. I was like, okay, yeah, he's totally the thief. Like he's the one that's going around stealing people's stuff while he's like, smooching with Elizabeth.
Yeah.
No, you were just there because you just gotten recently fired from her dad, so you thought, oh, I'll weasel my way into the family. I'll be his son-in-law. Let's do it like that. Like, what brought you to When Calls the Heart? Like, basically, long story short, like, how did you get how did you find out the role?
So I like 6 weeks before that, maybe 2 months before that, I tested with Daniel Lissing for the Mountie, for the lead, for the lead for Jack.
Okay.
And with Aaron, we did a chemistry read, and I thought that I was going to play Jack, and unfortunately, fortunately, Daniel, I love Daniel. Daniel's a great guy, and he's done it. Did such a great job with that character. But they went with Daniel, and Brian Bird, the producer. He called my manager, and it was so sweet of him to do this, but he called my manager and he said, look, Andrew did such a great job. We would love for him to come on a couple episodes and potentially play the antagonist, or just a few episodes. And so I was like, yeah, as if everyone said, it's nice of him to call my manager and say that, but is it, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. And yeah, lo and behold, a couple months later, I got a call and they said, hey, do you want to come up here and play this character, Billy Hamilton? It's gonna be a fun character. And I read it immediately and I'm like, this guy needs a mustache. I got to keep a mustache. If I can keep a mustache, it would be great, because it would really help me with this, with this character. And so Hallmark said yes, to the mustache. And I kind of had an idea that he was a little bit of like Bill the Butcher from, did you ever see that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio?
I've seen clips. I haven't seen the full movie, but I've seen clips of it.
So Daniel Day-Lewis plays Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York. And so Billy Hamilton, I felt like he had a little bit of this Bill the Butcher thing, where he's just very mysterious, and he could be your best friend but then stab you in the back, when you turn your back. And I felt like we just scratched the surface with who that character could be. So there's always been a little bit of talk about bringing Billy back and potentially having Billy be reformed. But my phone hasn't rang yet. My phone hasn't rang.
I'm actually gonna ask you if you wanted to come back as Billy, or maybe come back as a new character, if maybe Billy's long lost twin or something.
Actually, it's funny you said that. People had been talking about having it be Billy. Billy had a twin too. But
I automatically thinking you're Billy, even though you're technically playing his twin, and she's freaking out, and you're like, you're talking about.
I think it'd be nice to come out of jail and be this reformed guy that has changed, and everybody thinks of me as the old Billy, but I have to kind of win people over, and I'm starting to do things for people, and people don't trust me at the very beginning, but a couple people give me a chance, and I actually go above and beyond, and I'm trustworthy. And I kind of hold a Bible, to I have a Bible on me, or I have, I'm just.
That would be a very Billy move, because like with the poetry and things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. That would be a very big.
And I'm
in
training to be in training to be a pastor or something like that. Maybe I.
Oh my
I don't know.
That would be amazing. I love that.
We need that.
Hallmark, if you're watching, please.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Yes.
Please.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, it's actually funny because we come up with storylines all the time. Like when you were saying we needed to be creative producers, we come up with storylines all the time. I literally, just before you came on, had messaged Jocelyn Hudden and was like, okay, idea. I've occasionally message with her, and I was like, okay, I have an idea. A remake of Love in the Afternoon with Audrey Hepburn and Gary Cooper, with Jocelyn and Eric Mavis from Signed, Sealed, Delivered. She was like, I am down. But I'm like, I love this stuff. But one night, were we on a live? Like, what the heck happened when we figured out how to get Tyler? Oh, that was hilarious.
Yes, we were on live one night, really late. Like at the time, I wasn't working. We both weren't working because of COVID, and everything. And we were up until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Delirium has done set in, and we just start thinking about like what can we add to the cast, because I think at the time it was like season 7. Season 8.
Trying to figure out who to bring in for Faith, because like they've never
because at the time like Carson left, or we had gotten told that he was going to be leaving after this season, so we're like, okay, Faith's going to need a new guy. We immediately thought about Tyler.
That's Paul, right? Like, Paul Green.
Yes, Paul Green left. He had a baby, so that's the reason why he had to leave. Is because he went to the wife. Totally understandable. We honestly commend him for doing that. And we were like, but Faith needs someone. We can't be leaving her stranded for like the 3rd time by a guy. Okay, she needs someone. So we're like, she automatically thought about Tyler. We started doing it. We were like, you know, maybe he's like this gruff cowboy who comes in and he's like kind of cocky and just like, you know, typically like how a lot of Tyler's characters are.
Tyler, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
how Tyler is in real life.
Yeah.
edge of mystery, a little bit of snark. Like obviously Faith is a doctor now, and I don't remember everything we came up with. Something about like him getting injured and her having to take care of him, and him like popping something off about a female doctor. You know,
like, I kind of dig that. Like maybe kind of flirting with her, like, you know what, that's actually kind of hot or something.
Like I think you
maybe not in those words, maybe a little bit more proper Hallmark term, but
I think you posted it like on your Insta story or something.
I think I tagged Tyler in it. I think we actually saved that live on one of our accounts, either on your account or my account, and I think I tagged Tyler or something. I did something on my story and I tagged Tyler in it, and I pretty much did the lowdown on it. And he's like, "Looks like you guys got it all figured out. I'm in." Like, and we were like, "Okay, that just happened."
You didn't expect him to see it?
No,
to see the post?
At all.
Yeah.
Oh, Tyler is all knowing on social media. He sees it all. He sees it all. He sees it all.
He didn't see everything. We were actually going to try and get him to surprise you today.
Yeah.
And like sneak up on the live and be like, "Hey, buddy." And he did not see the message on my Instagram.
Oh, jeez. Maybe he deliberately did conveniently.
Yeah, he's probably like, "Nah."
He's probably like, "I am not dealing with these crazy girls."
He's coming over to our house in the next few days. He's in LA right now. So
nice.
Yeah.
I'll tell him we said hi and that we missed him.
I will. I'll be like, "Why didn't you come on that podcast, man?"
Tell him we want him to come on though, because we want to recap It Was Always You. So
okay.
Man, that movie is amazing.
Oh yeah, that one is really good. I would love to see you and Aaron do a movie together as well.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, because you guys did have really good chemistry, even as Billy and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
She's amazing. It's difficult not to have chemistry with her.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. And and now I think I would prefer doing something with her now than back then too, because just, you know, you get a little older and understand your craft a little more, understand who you are a little bit more. And, you know, I think that we would have a really good time doing a movie together. And just, you know, I think it would be a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah.
What kind of movie would you like to do with her? Like, would you want to do like the standard like Christmas, or do you maybe something completely not even really do holiday?
That was actually a question I was going to ask you. Like, if you could just come up with your own project, what would you do, and who would your castmates be?
Well, I have come up with my own project. There's one that I have in development, but I don't know if I can say anything about it right now just yet. Yeah. So I can't, but, you know, I do, like, A Dream of Christmas really resonated with me because I don't think there's anything more devastating or you know, heart-wrenching than losing your partner potentially, and your life partner, and then then winning them back somehow, or fighting to get them back in your life somehow. And so that movie, and I think when I did it, our son was like a month old, but now that I have a 6-year-old too, there's something, there's so much more weight to my life now, and and having 2 kids, and I think that losing your partner for whatever reason, or things just happen where you feel like there's a fracture in the relationship or something, and you win them back. I mean, It Was Always You was a really, it was dangerous territory for them to toe, but they did it so well in that movie that he kind of like, it wasn't like he was stealing his brother's girlfriend,
It almost was a twist to where his brother actually stole his, in a way, because like he held this torch for her, and then in swoops his brother, and it's like so that was
I really loved the discussion between the brothers right there, where they actually talked about basically how they're different spirits. Like this one has to have everything planned down to the letter, and the other one, is just like free spirit. And I loved how they had that conversation, though, basically kind of, I respect who you are, that they didn't resent each other for it. I love that element.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's a good relationship that my wife and I have, because I'm the jokester, free spirit person that doesn't really have anything in order in my life, and and she's like A type, and she runs our company, and I'm kind of an idea guy, and I just kind of like throw a bunch of things her way and then go, okay, see you later, I'm going to yoga, or like whatever, and she's like, she like gets it all done. But
that makes your marriage great, because you depend on each other in that aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you depend on her a little bit more, but yeah,
she works so hard for what she gets, and I kind of don't. In a way, I have this little bit of luck that happens where I just kind of today, perfect example. I'm recording these documents for some renovations we're doing at the house. And there's one document that I got everything else notarized. I didn't get one document notarized. I waited in this line for like an hour, and I'm at the front of the lineup, and I see the lady, and she's like, "Oh, you need to get this notarized." And it's like 2.5 months that I had to make that I've been waiting for this appointment. I'm like, I need to get it notarized. I need to get it notarized. And the first lady in line behind me, she goes, "I'm a notary. Do you want me to notarize it for you right now?" And I'm like, "Yes, please." Yeah. I'm like,
awesome.
And most people will be like, "It's just my luck." Like, people go, "It's just my luck. It's just my luck that something bad happens," But I really do feel like it's just my luck that something good happens, And I think that's, you do have a choice in life where you wake up in the morning time, and you can. My wife and I talk about it all the time. You have a choice to wake up and either, think of all the things that are going to stress you out in your day, or the things that you have to be scared of, or you're nervous to do, or, fears and restrictions on, on the goals that you want to attain. Or you can wake up and go, "I'm ready for this. I'm positive. I'm ready to take the day on. I can't wait to have my coffee. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait to see this person," just like everything. And you can take it in snippets and bite-sized pieces. And, but I really do feel like that's, it's an exercise. You can't just it doesn't just happen overnight, but you can definitely start to change that progress, your
mindset,
mindset. It's mindset. Exactly.
Yeah. Morgan and I have both had, oh boy, a heck of a several months. My grandfather passed away Christmas Day, and then my mom passed away.
Christmas Day?
Yes. Both of my dad's parents passed away on Christmas Day. His mom passed away 2012. His dad passed away 2021. And then my mom passed away very unexpectedly in March. And then Morgan.
So sorry, Kerri.
Thank you. Morgan had to have her dog put down recently, and like right before my grandfather died, well, we had moved him in with us, and then we had to put him in the nursing home. Well, then he was in and out of the hospital, and then it was like every other week somebody in our family was sick, and then I got COVID in February. So I mean, it's just been like months of everything that could go wrong going wrong, and for both of us. And today we were cracking up. She called me earlier and she was like, I got a raise today. Like, she got a raise at work today.
Oh, congratulations, Morgan. It's great.
Thank you.
And then,
I mean, it's been chaotic at work. I mean, like the scheduling at work is like in fact, 2 people actually quit at my job today. And like, thankfully we have 2 people coming in to interview to hopefully fill those spots pretty quickly. But like, it seems like we've been understaffed for like months. So I've been having to pick up extra shifts, which I'm not complaining because, hey, that's money in my bank account that I need. But like, we've always been trying to twist on the positive side of it and try and get our minds away from the negative, because it's very easy to find the negative with us. Like,
oh, it is. Yeah, it is. Like, I mean, it's easy with a lot of people, with most people. And you know, so it is really about finding the positives, as many positives as you possibly can in your day, not celebrating it. Yes, that's it. So, well, congrats on that raise. And
thank you.
She had the news about the raise, and then I was like, I forgot to tell you when I talked to you last night, they got a distribution deal for Maydream Man. And then we were like, and we get to interview Andrew today. We were like, things are looking up. So this is like the best day we have had in months. So thank you.
Man. Me too, guys. Me too.
Awesome. But that's what we love to do with this podcast too, is because a lot of negative has been happening with the show, that a lot of people are like, they're wanting to really hone in on the negative, like especially the past 2 episodes. Like, I don't really have to explain the episodes to you or anything, but you know, we've noticed like on social media, everybody's been wanting to hold on what they don't like about the episodes, what they don't like about how some characters are changing, or they're not like their old selves anymore. And we're like, you know, you have to, like, there's not that many shows like When Calls the Heart out there where you can watch them with your kids, your grandparents, or you know, it's got faith, it's got hope, it's got love, it's got community, it's got family. You know, you don't find that many shows that are like that. And yes, we might not like every single aspect of the show. There might be some characters that we don't like as much as we like the others, you know, but you can't keep honing in on negative, because then it's like, why are you watching the show? You're putting so much negative, you know, don't watch the show. Like, we even tell people, like, please stop watching it, because we don't want that much negative being put into your life if that's all you can focus on. Because it is hard to go from, you know, only thinking of the negative to, like you said, it's not going to be like overnight kind of thing.
It's not going to be, but
we kind of try to remind them, like, hey, look at this positive thing. Like, we're trying to be like, hey,
chain links.
Like, it's
chain links. You start one, you do another one, it all kind of interconnects after a while, and then you know, and then it's just flow. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, well, of course that was going to work out for me. Of course that's supposed to work out for me. And that's, you know, that's what I hope, at least, to, you know, to strive for every day. And that's what I feel like people should. Some people, people sit in the negativity, and it perpetuates, and it's easier to complain about something, right, than it is to give a compliment, or just walking down the street, seeing somebody and saying, hey, you know, nice, love those sunglasses, you know, or oh, hey man, how you doing, you know, or just, you know, can I get that door for you, or, you know, just like going a little bit out of your way to put out good energy, good vibes, you know.
I used to work at Wendy's a few years ago.
Okay.
And when I worked the front, I prefer working drive-through, which is apparently unusual when you work fast food. I don't know, because they would find out the couple of fast food restaurants I worked at, they would find out pretty quickly I was good on drive. And they would like keep me over there because nobody wanted to work drive, and I loved it. I'm like, listen, if I'm on drive, I'm not responsible for everything out front. Okay. Like, that is too stressful for me. But when I would work the front, I'm like, it's really comical, because there is a method to how families order. You'll have a family walk up, and they'll stand there and look at the menu for a minute, and then the mom will order for each one of the kids, pointing to each one as she's ordering, and then she'll order for herself, and then she'll stand there and look at the menu for another second, and then she'll step back and look at her husband and like, okay, are you gonna order, you know? And he would step up to order, and I'm just like, she's gonna let you eat, you know? And it like catches them off guard for a second, and then they start laughing. But I was
laughing.
Like, they would always tell you, you know, say, welcome to Wendy's, how can I help you, you know, whatever. I'm like, I threw that out the window and I would just do my own thing. I would be sarcastic with people. I would always try to find something to compliment about someone, like, oh, I love your shirt, or oh, I love your earrings, or you know, whatever. And it's like, you never know. I'm like, it must have worked, because I would have people come in. I would be working drive-through and somebody would be like, hey, Kerri, somebody's looking for you. And I'm like, huh? And I would stick my head around the wall there, and somebody would be like, hey, can you make sure my fries are like hot? And I'm like, well, I'm not working that station, but yeah, you know, but like, but I loved doing that. You know, it's a small town, and I loved giving that personal element to people rather than just being so strict by the book. You know,
absolutely. And we live in a world that is, it's so structured in the way that you think people should be speaking to you, or the way that, you know, you show up to customer service some places. But, you know, I was at a government run, you know, facility today, or office today. And, you know, you have these in Los Angeles, especially because I see so many people every single day, and you have these preconceived notions of, oh man, it's going to be like this. I'm going to go in, people are going to be rude. You know, we're going to, you know, if I arrive 5 minutes late, they're not going to see me anymore. But then you just, you change. I walked in and I ran late, and the lady was like, oh, I don't know if they canceled your appointment. You're 10 minutes late. And I said, I know, it was the traffic coming in here. She's like, let me, I'll be right back. And she goes and checks. She goes, it's your lucky day. She goes, he's going to see you. But he told me to scold you. He told me to scold you. And I was like, and her saying that to me in that environment, I was so thrown off, and like going, you're awesome. And so is that guy for taking the time out to, like, he doesn't know me, but he's like, he's putting back, you know, giving back good, you know, good spirit to paying it forward. And then my day changes, and then I treat somebody differently, and then, you know, so it's
a ripple effect.
Yeah,
it's a ripple effect. Exactly. So that's great, Kerri, that you took it upon yourself to do that, you know. And
I love that.
Obviously, Morgan, you're crushing it in your job too, getting raises and stuff. So whatever you're doing, keep doing you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm a housekeeper in a nursing home, and I love it, because just like being able to be around those residents, and we have a lot of them who are, you know, they don't have a lot of family, especially when COVID hit. It was bad because they couldn't allow people in there to see their family members.
Yes.
And already got some that are early stages. They needed that constant connection with their family, because then it just made it worse for them to remember them, you know, or to tie them to them. And just like it was, and then we had some that they felt like they were abandoned because they couldn't understand the concept about, hey, we're locked down, there's sickness going around.
Oh wow.
So like it was all that kind of stuff. And I came just about the butt end. We are now fully opened. We do screenings, and everybody wears a mask when they're inside. But once they're inside the residence room, in their family's room, they can take it off and they can just be with their family and not have that distraction. Sorry, I have my nieces at the door. She's crying.
Oh, great.
Do I need to grab her? I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
No worries. How old is your niece, Kerri?
Oh geez, I think they just turned 2. I'm not sure. They're either 1 or 2. I honestly don't remember.
When I do these podcasts in the evening, sometimes when my both boys are here. Oh, what's her name?
You're going to have to unmute yourself, Morgan. Sorry, I had muted you. There you go.
It's okay. Her name, let's see. She's a twin. She's this is Olivia.
Hi, Olivia.
And
hi.
This is my nephew, Oliver. I'm so sorry, Kerri.
Hey,
you told me not to do
No,
this.
you're good. No, I don't care.
What's going on, Oliver? How you doing, buddy?
Good. How old are the twins?
The twins just turned a year old in February.
Okay,
And this buddy just turned 4 this month. Or no,
Whoa.
April.
Yeah.
Turned 4 in April. Look at you. Do you have a tooth? You have a tooth missing?
Yes, he knocked that out whenever he was a year old.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
did the tooth fairy come at least?
Did you see the tooth fairy? Did the tooth fairy get your tooth?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, don't knock any more teeth out, okay, Oliver? You want to keep all those teeth, okay? You want to keep all those teeth and let them come out naturally.
Yeah, let's see Nana.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, my brother has three kids.
Does he?
The oldest is 4. The middle child is 3.
And then this is Evie.
Oh my gosh, like identical.
Yeah, they're
They
identical.
look identical.
They are.
Busy household.
Yes, it is.
Yep, absolutely.
So we understand
going on at both our families.
We understand being a dad a little bit.
Oh,
Thankfully,
I
can give
understand
them
being a dad. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
As she is doing her nephew.
Yeah.
Come on, boy. Okay, get out of here. And this is another thing, we don't edit our podcast, and actually we get a lot of people thanking us for that, because they're like, we love how real y'all are, and like the 2 a.m. delirium when we're trying to record, and we're like just sitting here. I don't know how many times I've heard, breathe, Kerri, breathe, because I will get to laughing so hard there is no sound coming out. So yeah, we have some interesting recordings sometimes, but we love it.
I also
have
animals. My cat also will jump in my lap and just like start meowing like crazy, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Can you not right now? Like, not at this minute.
Yeah, we call him our little mascot.
Yeah.
He's like, is Morgan doing that podcast again?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, I'm coming in. Now it's my time. It's my time to
get distracted. She's not giving me love right now, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna go. So
real quick, one of our favorite movies of yours that we did not mention earlier was My Christmas Family Tree. And congratulations, by the way, and I will have to look exactly how it was worded for the best overall 2021 Countdown to Christmas movie in the Swing My Heart 2021 Fan Awards. That was so cool. Obviously, we voted.
Thank you. Oh, thanks, guys.
That was one of the best movies I had seen in I don't know how long.
It really was.
The whole story and everything like just grabbed me. So
it was really, I didn't expect it to kind of come off like that. I knew it was a really talented cast, and James Tupper, who played Amy's father, he just came off set with Meryl Streep and what's her name? Why is want to say Renee Zellweger? It's not Renee Zellweger, but what's her name from? Oh my gosh, terrible. Anyways, he was doing a TV show, an HBO TV show, and why am I blanking on her name? Anyways, he was on this great. Yes, Reese Witherspoon.
Big Little Fires, is that it? Or
Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies, yeah.
Big Little Lies. And so, hey, that was his like last job that he came off of.
Wow, that's a serious
film.
That was a series.
Amazing to get him. Yeah. Amazing to get him in this movie. And he played the father of a really good friend of ours in a show called Revenge back in the day. I don't know if you guys ever saw Revenge on ABC.
I didn't see it, but I know a lot of the cast from that.
So he played, a close girlfriend of ours is Emily Van Camp, and she played the lead in it, and James is her father. So
I'm a big Marvel nerd, so I know her. Yeah, so I know her obviously for playing Sharon Carter.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah, it's her birthday today. Actually, we're going for dinner with her tonight to celebrate.
Well, we said happy birthday.
I will tell her that. And so James was so incredible in that movie, and just to work with him to be on set with him and to see what he brings to the table was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That's awesome.
And Tyler made a little cameo in that movie too, didn't he? As the waiter. Yeah. We love like that was one thing Morgan was like, I love their bromance they have going up. Like
your Instagram posts, like for instance, you guys laying on the couch with the popcorn imitating it was always you. I love that picture. I was like, that's serious right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like
a lot of fun.
Yeah, everybody talks about y'all's bromance, and then like I feel like Kevin McGarry has a bromance with everybody.
Right?
I feel like he doesn't have just one. He has a lot of romances. But yeah, I love whenever they do that, or like whenever the girls are all together and like that kind of aspect. That's really cool.
That's the beauty of Hallmark. Honestly, like everybody, there's no real competition. Like we're all doing the same types of movies, and we're all supporting each other like crazy. The amount of messages that I received when I found out I got this deal with Hallmark and you know, put up that picture on Instagram. It's like I got so many people, like Lacey hit me up, and Amy, and you know, Nikki, and then Alicia Witt, and you know, and all the guys like Ryan, and you know, it was amazing. Tyler, obviously, and just you know, so many people were just so supportive, and Aaron, Krako, and you know, that's what makes Hallmark so incredible to work for. Is everybody's so supportive, and you go to these like the Christmas convention, for example, that we were at in New Jersey, and I'm going to this other one called Rama Drama. When you're in the green room, it's not about like, oh, who's a bigger, you know, who's got more of a name than the next person. There's no egos. Right. It's like, hey man, how are you? How's it going? How's the kids? How's life? And just it's
almost like it's going to like a high school reunion, but you actually like everyone there.
Yes, completely, exactly. Good comparison.
Yeah.
I was homeschooled, but I can relate. I'm like, I love people, I just don't like them the majority of the time.
We do what the Bible says. We love them, but it doesn't say in there we have to like each other. It says we have to
yeah. That's it. So I'm like, I love people, I just don't like them the majority of the time. And I have had
somebody said that about your kids the other day. Someone said about she's like, I love my kids. I don't like my kids, but I love them. I don't like my kids sometimes. She goes, I don't like my kids sometimes, but I love them. That's actually great.
That's very true.
Yeah. And like I have met so many fake people in my life. Like honestly, Morgan is one of the like maybe 5 people I know that I would consider a true friend. Like so many people. I can say the same
for her because like she like I honestly felt bad because I feel like I was crying more than she did about my dog dying than she did about her mom. And I'm like, I'm so sorry because I feel like this is nothing compared to what you just went through. And she's like calling me all the time. She's like, hey, how are you doing? Like, are you okay? How's your mom? Like we call each other all the time. We just like literally talk about our own lives outside of this.
Great guys. Like, you know, all you need in life is that one person, right? That you can just, and then you have that one person that you go through life with and then, you know, you kind of build it out from there, you know, then you can help each other with your relationships with other people that you bring in. And, you know, at least, you know, you have each other and it's great. You know, that's what kept me in Los Angeles. I probably would have left to go somewhere else, but it's a tough city to find good people around. And I just somehow, with my luck, I guess, but somehow 20 years ago when I first got here, I've been here for 21 years now. I found this friend group and it just kind of built out from there. I'm still friends with some of these people. Like 5 of my friends in my friend group are people that I met 20 years ago here in LA. Wow. And so that's what kept me in the city because it's just really, you know, I have incredible friends who are supportive and we all challenge each other and, we're honest with each other. If things rub us the wrong way about somebody did something, you just talk about it right away.
That is really rare to find.
Yeah.
Very rare. And I would think it's even more rare in Los Angeles. Especially
it is
the kind of field that you're in, like as actors, because there are people with egos. There are people with like this like complex. So it's like for you to find that group is amazing.
Ironically, actually one of my best friends and like one of the people that my mom says she's never seen anybody fight for me like this guy does, but actually lives in LA. Or I don't know if I'm an old soul. Okay. Like I'm like 80 stuck in a 26-year-old body here. So I'm like obsessed. If I were not wearing a Georgia Bulldog shirt, I would be wearing a Mayberry shirt. I'm obsessed with like the Andy Griffith Show and stuff from like the 60s cool. and older. So you're lucky I watch Hallmark because pretty much 70s is like my cutoff point of of stuff that I watch. But I don't know if you're familiar with like the Andy Griffith Show or the spinoff show Gomer Pyle USMC, but I've got
not familiar with that one. No, but the Andy Griffith I am.
Ronnie Shell, he was in 2 episodes of the Andy Griffith Show, but he's best known for his work on Gomer Pyle USMC. He was in some Walt Disney movies and stuff, but I've met him through the Andy Griffith Show, and his son Greg and I have become like best friends. And we talk all the time. He's been texting me while we're recording here, but they live in LA.
So cool.
So
okay, great.
I feel like very, very blessed to have gotten to meet them and get to know them as people, and not just, oh my gosh, this is Ronnie Shell, like.
Yeah.
But you should have saw us before you came on.
What?
I said you should, like, you mentioned that being like, oh my god, it's Ronnie Shell, like.
Oh yeah,
we were.
Oh yeah, we were
probably got a kick out of it.
Yeah, we were kind of fangirling just a little bit.
You should have pressed play on the podcast then, guys. That's what people
want
to see.
Don't do that. Yeah.
I told her to do that.
Yeah, we were geeking out just a little bit. Not gonna lie. Okay, maybe a little more than a little bit.
Oh, but, I'm gonna blush like Morgan. I'm gonna
Good.
No, we love you. We seriously do.
Yes, not alone.
Okay, well, real quick, tell us about your juice business, because honestly, I didn't even know that was a thing until recently. So
if y'all watched your podcast for the Swing My Heart podcast, and
yeah,
Nicole very kindly bragged about her juice that you sent her, and she's like, "Look what I got in the mail today."
Yeah,
like
nice. Amazing. Well, you guys are gonna have to get some juice as well.
Yes.
So we'll connect after this, but yeah, it started coming up on 10 years in January of 2023. My wife and I started this juice bar. We had one retail location next to a hot yoga studio. We had invested in a restaurant about a year or so before that. We loved hospitality. We love food. We're big foodies. And I was taking a lot of meetings for producing at the time. So we were like, let's invest in this restaurant so we could like do it all under one roof, and it'd be part of our business as well. And anyways, so we had experience in that a little bit. And then we had at this hot yoga studio that I go to a lot, and my wife was going to at the time with me a decent amount. The owners told us one day, they're like, hey, we have this, we took on the location next to us, which was a rug store. And we signed a lease. We're going to turn that into another studio space. And they already had a 70-person capacity room, and they were going to turn that other one into a 65 capacity room. So they were going to have these 2 studios kind of like going off each other. Mm-hmm. Every 30 minutes, basically, people would file out of one class, go, change, leave. The next class would file in. And it's like, it was every 30 minutes to an hour that it would basically do. So it was an unbelievable yoga studio, had an incredible following. And so my wife and I left that day, and she wasn't loving the job that she was doing. And she was selling clothes for this fashion company out of Montreal. And she's like, I'm selling clothes to women that don't need to buy any more clothes. It's just, and I'm not really like helping change people. And she's always been she's a really great cook, and she cooks really healthy food that tastes good. And she had been doing it before, kind of like before kale was a thing. She was like doing these great dishes with kale, and she'd make her own veggie burgers, and we would do, we eat everything though. Like, we're not just, we eat pizza and burgers and fries and whatever, but we're just mainly, we do like to take more of a healthy approach to a lot of the stuff that we put in our body. And so at the time, we were like, well, after we had that meeting with the girls at the yoga studio, we're like, maybe we should see if they want to open up, carve out a few 100 square feet for us to create some sort of health and wellness bar, like a juice bar, smoothies and stuff like that. And so we went back to them the next day and asked them, and they said, they were like, yeah, guys, let's do it. Yeah, we'll carve out, we'll put you on the sidewalk side, and let's just carve out that space. So we went back that night. We're like, what did we agree to? We don't know how to run a business. And now we have to like raise a bunch of money.
What did we just do?
Like, what did we just do?
Yeah.
And we didn't have the money to finance it ourselves necessarily. So we were like, let's go, and we have to, I guess, raise money now. And so we really learned, a lot along the way. But we opened up that place. Then we opened up another 2 more juice bars about a year or so apart. So we had 3 juice bars. And then we started doing started selling wholesale. So we had a lot of people ask us, if they could sell our juice at a coffee shop or at their grocery or in a local specialty market. And so we would just say yes. We said yes to everything. We were like, yes, oh yeah, we'll sell, yeah. And then at one point the business got really a little unmanageable in the way that there was so many fragmented different things that we were doing. We had 3 juice bars, we had 3 trucks on the road that were doing wholesale, and we had a kitchen that we had 35 employees in that were juicing for us on a nightly basis. And every time something would go wrong, I'd have to go over there and fix the juicer. And I was sometimes helping the guys. At that point, I was more like helping my wife with sales. But I juiced for the first year and a half of our business, and my wife was working in our stores for the first like 3 years of our business. And now we've really streamlined it. We kind of closed all our stores, and we just sell wholesale. And we sell to about 700 or so accounts up and down the California coast in Nevada and Arizona. And so we do, we're doing a lot of grocery stores now. Like we're in Whole Foods in the Southern Pacific region and a bunch of grocery stores around here, and do a lot of hotels is kind of like our niche, because we, it's a higher end juice. It's like, the blends aren't what you'd normally get from like a
small town grocery
or
store,
like Bolt House. Small town grocery store. It's like we juice things with like, we'll throw an ounce of wheatgrass into our beet juice, and our beet juice has tons of ginger in it, so it's a very bright tasting beet juice, but like there's no sugar added, there's nothing. It's just, all it is local fruits and vegetables from local California farms. And we try to go after the farms that have extremely high farming good, like very good farming practices.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's not like conventional style stuff. We're getting a lot of family farms that can't necessarily afford and don't want to do USDA certified organic as well. Mm-hmm. There's good and bad with USDA certified organic, and we really feel like small farming practices are way better than that. And
you're changing
their lives.
That's
it's amazing now. We know our apple farmer, we know our kale farmer, and we have a really good relationship with all of them now. And I think it really shines through on the product too. That's really where it's the ingredients that go in the bottle that are the most important thing that the most important aspect of our business.
Yeah. You do realize that your juice business is a Hallmark movie, right?
That's
like the personal relationships being so important, the like cutting things down to manageable, not just doing what people would expect you to do.
How you got started.
Yeah.
I pitched them on this, but it was 3 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And it was different. It was a different team and stuff there. Mm-hmm. And it was at a time when they were looking to change things a little bit. And I think the pitch that I had sent them was to like small town guy moves back to this, small town guy moved to the city, moves back to his small town again, meets the girl, and she owns this yoga studio. He wants to open up a juice bar next to the yoga studio. And she's his landlord. And they basically love ensues, but there's like turmoil before that. But I think there needs to be something a little bit more creative there. But I'm definitely.
A good twist would be if he was actually from a small town and he was moving to the big city. And so he was kind of a fish out of water in that aspect.
There we go. I was just going to say, Morgan and Kerri, you should come up with the, the concept. Send me the log line.
You should know, dude, you asked for it. You're gonna get bombarded.
Hey, I'm asking for it because I mean it.
But I mean, you don't see the whole. You always see the classic, city person that used to live in a small town was, moved back to their hometown. And they're like, they hate it. They can't wait to get back to the city. All this kind of stuff. But you never see the small town guy or girl move to the city, and it'd be like, what did I just sign myself up for?
Yeah.
This is way over my head.
Exactly.
I want to see a Hallmark movie where somebody actually leaves I'm from a small town. I love a small town. But I want to see a Hallmark movie where they actually twist that up and somebody actually moves to the city and that's their choice rather than they're from a small town, they're living in the city, and then they discover they should be back in their small town. It would be something different. And you should probably know that the wallpaper on my laptop is actually kind of a mock-up like poster for the story that I was talking about. And the pictures of like the characters on there are Tyler, Jen Lilly, Marcus Rosner, Merritt Patterson, a girl that worked on Mayberry Man with us. Her name's Olivia Disney. Sweet girl. And you. And the story, I actually called it My Hallmark Love. And it's like the same and yet different from anything Hallmark's ever done, because the main character is like in search of love, never, like, she's got a great life, and so she just doesn't have any luck finding love. She's a hopeless romantic, and she's watched maybe like one or two too many Hallmark movies. So she decides to, not that that's a thing, but you know what I mean. But that she decides to make a list of all the meet cutes that she loves in these Hallmark movies. And she's going to try these things to find true love, because art imitates life, right? So she decides to try all these things. And of course it ends disastrously with every single one of them. And her brother's best friend moves in the apartment across the hall from her and thinks she's crazy for trying this, but hey, at least she's trying to, at least she's putting herself out there. And he actually has a girlfriend, but like just through the course of her like failing at these things, he becomes her shoulder to cry on, pretty much. And at the end of the movie, that she has, I feel sorry, Marcus like so many times gets to be the guy, like the bad guy that gets dumped, but that's just, I don't know, he does a really good job at that. But anyway,
he does a really good job with that. I know.
But that basically he's like the mayor's assistant that has been trying to get close to her in order to actually use her, because the mayor's going to run for governor. And she like works at a newspaper. They get her this job working at the news station and whatever, because they're wanting to utilize her in order to promote their campaign. And the best friend like finds out about it and tries telling her. Of course she tells him he's lying, she don't want to ever see him again, type thing. So he decides to leave, and then she finds out he was actually right and calls her brother and has a conversation and has a conversation with him, kind of like, man, I'm such an idiot, like realizing she's in love with this other guy, but he's gone now, she doesn't have a chance. And that you're like, what are you talking about? He's been in love with you all our lives, like, so just kind of, but throwing in the element of like using past Hallmark movies, all those meet cutes. But yeah, that is my
I love that idea, but using all the meet cutes like that, and they don't work,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it's when she least expects it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
he's got like 3 books in the works right now. Like this shit never stops. Okay.
Good, Kerri. Good. Don't keep it going.
Do you actually have
got to keep creating?
Self-published, but yeah.
Yeah, self-published.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats! Wow. What are the names?
Love in the Rain and Love Grows. I'm hoping to turn it into a 5-book series. The first book I co-wrote with a fellow Hardy, and it wasn't really serious. Like I would love to go back and rewrite it, honestly, because it is very amateurish. We wrote it in like a month, but we kind of wrote it, I don't know any other way to describe it, but kind of as a fan fiction of When Calls the Heart, but it's different characters, but it's the same principle, like Mountie, teacher, whatever. But with the second book, I definitely like did a little more research, whatever.
It's so good.
I would love to like continue that series, but yeah, I love to write. When I was 10 years old, and this was actually something I wanted to ask you about, and I'll get around to the question in a second, but when I was 10 years old, I told my mom I wanted to write books, make movies, and make CDs, also sing, because I wanted to be a part of making sure there was something good for people in the world. And up to this point, I've gotten to write. I have gotten to work on a movie set, which I hope that is not my last one. I loved every minute of it. And actually just like right after Christmas, a friend of mine contacted me and was like, hey, would you be interested in recording a 10-song CD? And I'm like, so we haven't been able to actually work on that because my mom passing away and everything that's just happened. But hopefully I'll get to do that. But
like I said, she never stops.
Not Great. Really.
Amazing, Kerri.
I did
lots of irons in the fire. Yeah, what were you gonna ask me?
I did want to ask you though, because I could, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking in the interview you did with Swing My Heart podcast, you were saying that your dad didn't necessarily want you to be an actor. And I know that for me, like I've always had people be like, oh, shoot for your dreams, do whatever. And then when I tell them what my dreams actually are, they're like, oh, you're shooting for the moon. You need to settle in some 9-to-5 and, maybe that stuff will happen one day. And I'm like, when I'm 50 years old, married, got kids and don't have time? Like, I don't even have a boyfriend right now. It seems to me like right now is the time to try to
do it.
Yeah, to do something with this. But like I told my mom years ago, I was like, I would rather fall flat on my face trying to achieve my dreams and fail than to live a life full of what if I had, what if. And I know you talked about that you were kind of resenting your business there for a little while because it was keeping you from acting. So kind of what would be some insight that you could share of like just going for what you're passionate about, even when the odds are against you per se? I don't know how else to word that.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. I think that, my dad did. He was a little apprehensive of me being an actor because his brother's an actor, and his brother has seen the ups and downs of what it's like to be an actor. Not working for years and and the struggle, that you can go through and the denial and all that stuff. But fortunately, I had a bit of success at the very beginning when I was like 12, 13 years old in Montreal, Canada. And I started going out for some of my first auditions. I started booking them, and my dad would take time off. Of course, my dad he took time off of his work to pick me up at school and drive me to my auditions and take me out of school. He was a school principal for the same school board that I was going to elementary school in. And so the guy that was kind of like, I don't think you should be doing this. I don't think you should be doing this. It's going to be a waste of your time. And I don't want you to be, caught up in the whole rat race of being an actor and have to deal with all this, denial and this and that. And I was also, he was a sports guy. He wanted me to play football, and I was good at that game. But I think that being a well-rounded person is really important. And that was something my mom brought to the table. She's the creative. My mom is such a creative person. She's an incredible pianist. She could have been an actress. She dancer, singer, everything. So she's like really the creative inspiration that I've drew inspiration from. But I think, as I look back now as a 42-year-old guy, dad with 2 kids, it happened so fast. I got here so fast. Like, I don't know. But the decisions that I've made along the way that scare me were always the best decisions that I could have made. And so the scariest decisions were always the best decisions, and the things that, like, because you go into something scared, you do it, you get through it, and then you're only as good as that last thing that kind of you persevered through, and so the years that I took off from acting to start the juice business was petrifying. I mean, it was like the moments that we went through were such character building moments, like between my wife and I, and also having like opening a business with my wife. Like, you have to have some tough conversations together.
Right.
You have to get on the same page. And also there's people that are relying on you. Like, we had employees that were older than us that were working in our kitchen, or that we were hiring to be drivers or whatever, that had families to feed. So if we were in, a disagreement between the two of us, because, we had to put that aside or come to some sort of resolve quickly to not hinder the business from growing and potentially, not not being able to pay this person that relies on us. So, I think that you should act on things quickly when you have the inspiration to do it, and regardless of how crazy it is, because you're going to have people that are practical. There's too many practical people out there, and that's good, because that's what the world needs, practical people. But the world also needs people to like take risks. And I love that Nikki says this. She's like, we're in the circus, man. We're in the circus, Nikki says, and I love that, because it really is like the traveling circus. Like we go up somewhere, everybody meets you, everyone has their own, hat to wear, and you basically start like shooting a camera and creating and being like acting is such a, and the acting, look at the people that out there that are like, I want to be a magician. Imagine my son saying to me, I want to be a magician. Who am I to say to my son, you're going to be a magician? Magicians, can they even feed themselves? Like, is a magician a line of work that you actually want to do? And if it's something that he is inspired by, there's no reason for me to stand in the way of him being inspired by something that could potentially, he could use the tool in his life when he becomes, when he's working as an accountant or a lawyer or whatever later on down in life. But I think that life is all about accumulating these like experiences and things, and no decision is for life. You don't, no matter if you pick up, you're moving, you're doing whatever it is. I bought a $500 car at 21 years old, and I drove from Montreal to California with a buddy of mine. And I told my parents, I'm like, I don't know, I'll see you in a few months, I guess. And my dad's like, I'll see you in 2 weeks, and that was 21 years ago. Wow. And, that was one of the best decisions I ever could have made, is just like acting on an impulse that was kind of thought through, but not fully thought through. Right. And so I think that, and nothing that you do, that you're, all these books that you've written, all these things that you're doing, all these things you're putting into action are all going to, it's like a writer. When I look at what writers do, it's one of the hardest, there's no like, there's the payoff is, you don't know what the payoff is. You could just write. Some of these writers that I know that finally get their movies made, they have 20 other movies they've written, but it just, who's the perfect example of this? Seth Rogen. The actor Seth Rogen? I used to go to Seth Rogen's house or apartment all the time with a friend of mine. His name is Jay Baruchel, who's an actor out of Montreal. And Jay has done a lot of Seth Rogen movies now. But we'd go over to his house when I first came to LA, and Seth would just be writing all day long. And I was like, man, he's got like 16 scripts made or written, but nothing's been produced at that point. And then like 8 years later, Seth is doing his first movie. And then one of his movies, his second script that he ever wrote was like 40-Year-Old Virgin. And that was the one that he ended up getting made. Wow. And then all the scripts that he previously wrote at the very beginning of his writing started just getting made because now he has his foot in the door, and now he's a known guy, and he has producers that believe in him. And so nothing you do will ever go to waste, and it's never done in for no reason. You can it's important to keep creating, or it's important to keep studying. If you're whatever you do, just keep accumulating information, keep outputting, you know what I mean? And I think that's an important thing that people, the one thing that I would be upset about if my son decided that he just wanted to like lay in bed till noon every day, I'd be like, get your butt up, man, get after it, and that's why I think where my dad was like, look, I'll support whatever you do, just make sure that you do it and you try to do it well and you put effort behind it.
Don't waste
effort
time.
Don't waste time.
Energy, don't waste.
Yeah, and don't be hard on yourself about time wasted either. I think don't waste time. Catch yourself in a moment. Be like, I just want to keep like creating and keep,
there has to be a balance.
Exploring. Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. So I would just, that's a long-winded explanation about it, but I think that you're doing a great job in continuing to create and come up with great ways to, stimulate your mind and build your, build who you are as a person and a creator,
I think one thing that, thank you for that, by the way, but I think one thing that, that I have to remember is when I start getting frustrated that people don't seem to believe in me in those areas or whatever, is that creative people have always been considered strange by the rest of the world because our priorities lie. We're more passion people, we're more dream people, and we're willing to risk certain things in order to achieve something. We're not just practical. And I remember when, I don't remember if it was when I think it was after I published my first book, that my dad was like, are you even making any money off of this? And I was like, okay, my dad's a mechanic. So I was like, okay, let me put this in terms he can understand. I was like, just because someone drives in one race doesn't mean everybody's going to know who they are. I'm like, they're going to have to keep racing. I was like, it might be 30 books down the road that somebody finally goes, oh, wait, you wrote that? And your first book suddenly becomes one of your most popular, I mean, it's just like, it's unpredictable. And like I say, nothing is a waste of time. You mentioned Rama Drama earlier. I wish I could go, but I'm actually going to be at the Hardy's VIP weekend in Mappany, Indiana. Brian and Patty Bird are supposed to be there. I met Brian last year. And I think Jeanette Oak is supposed to be there as well if the borders stay open.
So then you can tell Brian, you go, Brian, bring Billy back. I was speaking to Angel.
There you go. I'm gonna tell him I talked to you and that we want you back.
That's it. Oh, hey guys, I'm looking at the clock here. I have to split.
Yeah, I was looking at the clock.
Eh?
I'm like, oh my God, we went way past
we talked for a long time. Yeah.
Sorry we kept you so long, but this is
no worries at all. It was great to chat with you guys, and I really appreciate you having me on the podcast.
Yeah, you can come back anytime.
That's sexy to say. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm so proud of you, what you're doing. So keep it up, all right?
Thank you. We're proud of you too.
Yes, we are.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Well, we'll see each other, I'm sure, very soon, and keep in touch. Okay?
All right.
And think of my movie. Think of the log line for the Juice movie, okay?
Okay.
And send it to me.
You're on.
We'll brainstorm.
Dude, you're on.
All right, good.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Take care.